Well, howdy, traveler. Welcome to our nice little corner of the world. We got a nice bar over here, a nice inn over there, and all of this was achieved with Patreon. Well, I tell you, nothing makes me more happy than supporting my favorite podcast on Patreon. It even comes with perks like asking a question for the patron Q&A on the podcast and naming an NPC for the upcoming D&D podcast. And all you gotta do is head on down to patreon.com/SirMeowMusic. Hey, Timmy, get away from the dysentery hole. Oh my God.
Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to an episode of the Please Stop Talking podcast. This is in relation to a previous episode where we talked about D&D horror stories, or a fan asked about D&D horror stories, and we're continuing that with some horror stories of our own. Today we have David.
Howdy.
A level 15 paladin who knows what he loves. We have Mandy.
Hey.
A level 472 ranger who loves shooting arrows at animals. We have Creel as well.
Hey.
A level 1 peasant. That's it. I don't know.
Wait,
Wow.
what was I? Was I a paladin? How am I a
guess.
paladin?
I don't know, dude. I just like to think of you as like completely opposite of what I would normally think of you. I like to think of you in shining armor and Mandy with a bow and arrow ravenously just killing things.
I mean, I guess. So this is how my friend invented the choke slam in the 1950s. This is a Call of Cthulhu story, so it was... Oh, fuck. Do I have to explain what Call of Cthulhu is?
It's a spooky.
I don't know. It's a spooky
RPG.
game. It's a spooky
It's a
game.
horror. It's a horror story of an horror RPG.
Yeah.
We can put it like that.
They were really late into an investigation. I was DMing this, and it was with a few friends. And I don't remember how, but they were in the sewers. And my players would always go out of their way to actually like lower their sanity. They were basically chasing this monster's shadow. And eventually they found the monster, and one of them went completely insane and started screaming and wailing. And the monsters like started running after them. So they started running away, and they found the exit to the sewers. And when they exited, they caught the attention of a shop owner and his like worried wife. And like the guy just looks at them come out of the sewers, and he's like worried. So he comes up to them and he's like, "Hey, you guys okay?" And he notices that there's something not quite right about them because they're all insane. All of them are insane. And he starts saying like, "Hey, maybe I should call the cops or the hospital because you guys are clearly insane." And my friend just looks me dead in the eye and he says, "I want to chokeslam him into the sewer." And his character is like this frail, insane psychologist. There is no way he is nearly strong enough to do this. So I'm thinking to myself, like, there's no way I can let him get away with this. Like, come on, man. You're derailing the game. You're going to kill somebody for no reason. I told him he could roll, but honestly, whatever he would have, like, rolled, I would still have made it an automatic fail. And he actually got a natural 99, which is a critical hit in Call of Cthulhu, because in Call of Cthulhu, you use the percentile die.
Okay.
So that means it's an automatic success no matter what. So I tell him, well, your dude grabs the man's neck with insane strength. He lifts him up with ease and he fucking slams him into the sewers where the monsters were. But I didn't want to let them off easy with that, because fuck that. Like, the woman is still there, so the wife starts screaming for help, and she's like panicking because she just saw this fucking psychologist chokeslam her husband in the sewers. So since she was screaming, they all look at me and they say, "Well, we can't have her screaming. That's crazy. Let's just all throw her down with him." So they all cooperated to fucking throw him into the sewers with her husband. And of course, they succeeded because for some reason they kept getting like insane rolls. Maybe they were using weighted dice. Who the fuck knows, dude?
Cheated a tabletop
Maybe it
RPG.
was weighted dice.
Maybe, dude. And they put back the lid on top of the sewers, but I still didn't want to, because they were like derailing the game and killing people like at random. So I was like, I can't let them do that. So I was like, well, the cops are there, because like, fuck, man, I don't know. I don't want them to get away with it. So I say, there's 2 policemen that are coming towards you guys, and they look like they want to confront you about what's happening. And right before the cops have a chance to say anything, or anybody has a chance to say anything, my friend, he just turns to me and he says, are there any cars around here? So I'm like, well, yes, there are cars. You're like on a street. And he says, I steal a car and make a break for it. And I was like, fuck, I guess roll. And somehow they once again got a fucking automatic success. And that's when I realized we weren't playing Call of Cthulhu anymore. We were playing fucking Grand Theft Auto.
Reverse LA Noire.
Yeah.
It was like the Call of Cthulhu actually has a rule set, or like not a rule set, a system for car chases. And since I never thought that we would have that this would be a possibility in my mind, I never thought there would be a car chase in the game I set up. I had to call a fucking break just to read how a car chase would work.
That shit sucks.
Dude, it derailed completely. I think
I've read those rules.
the car chases are not even fun to play because you have to roll for so many things. And
It's like all of combat in D&D.
yeah. And they got into the car. They start this whole police chase in the city. And that's like around when their streak of insanely good rolls just ended. I just had to make them roll for basic things and they would fail miserably. So they crashed into newsstands. And at one point they got like a critical fail. And I said, well, fuck, I guess you ran over a grandma.
Oh my god.
Wait, back up. They ran over a grandma?
They ran over a grandma because I was
Just like give them something.
Yeah, because I was like, I need to give them something because if there's nothing to like swerve or like dodge, what's the point? So I was like, oh, there's a grandma on the street. You guys have to roll to not hit her. And they fucking rolled a 1 and I was like, well, this clearly means that somebody dies and it's the grandma that dies. So they ran over the grandma and a bunch of fucking insane doctors in a car somehow got out of it unscathed, and that's how the chokeslam was invented.
I feel like the chokeslam may have been around before that.
Was it?
I think so. I mean, wrestling's been a thing since
The Romans.
Well,
Cowboys
forever.
were always choke slamming. Cowboys are experts.
Cowboys
at
are
choke
crazy.
slam.
I'm pretty sure
choke
Lincoln
slams.
choked.
You know, that reminds me of my favorite Christmas song.
Oh.
Grandma got ran over by a reindeer.
Grandma was choke slammed by an automobile.
Oh my god.
Well, David, thank you for your rousing Call of Cthulhu story. Call of Cthulhu is an interesting role-playing system. I recommend anybody check out Delta Green if you're going to get into Call of Cthulhu, because that's like X-Files type shit.
Oh yeah, I've
I
heard
really
that's
want
good.
to. I really want to try that out.
Delta Green is really good. I had a friend who was running a campaign that is, I think she is still running it, that is SCP based. Although we were really bad players, so we're not doing that anymore. I want to talk about Shadowrun, I guess. Well, actually, should I just tell my really awful, horrible D&D story and then maybe later Shadowrun?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna get a hard lemonade.
Cool, dude. So
Shadowrun's good.
my back in high school is when I started playing D&D, and we were playing 4th edition around then. 4th edition is garbage, by the way. You use a card system. It's all ability based. Everyone is a
What?
goddamn wizard. Everyone is a wizard, and it's awful, and I hate it.
I've only played one game
card
of 4
system?
because most people were playing 3.
I don't remember.
You're
I don't
supposed to
remember the
have
card
like
systems.
cards with abilities on them. So technically, it's a card system, but not really. It's like all abilities, but you're supposed to get like.
I did play D&D 4th edition, but I really don't remember the cards.
Nobody ever used the cards. There were. I
That's
believe there were cards you could
probably
get
why.
that had all your abilities on them. I think the only
Wait,
cool
did-
thing from 4th edition was Spellscard.
I mean, you could
Did they try to
probably play any
make a
D&D
like
with
trading
cards.
card system with it?
No, it wasn't a trading. It was
Or-
like little, like imagine like notes for like your essay. Like they had note cards you could buy because your abilities
Oh,
were so
okay.
varied that you couldn't keep track of them just on your character sheet. And if you tried
Yeah.
to, you would need like a 15-page character sheet.
3.5 would have been a lot better with cards. I mean, you can have cards with a lot of
4.0 was garbage.
games.
It was the worst thing ever to exist
in the entire world. And that's what I started on, baby. I started on 4th edition back in high school with some friends.
Oof.
Really?
Yep. We were terrible and everyone was awful. I wasn't a DM until years later in community college when I could finally get people together to actually play and let me create and craft. Because I had one of those friends that was very like controlling and very, well, I'm going to be the DM because we play at my house with my friends and my mom makes us snacks. Like very stereotypical, like he's the reason I don't play Magic the Gathering, because he was one of those kids that would be like, I have this shitty deck for you to play against my really cool new deck. So I hate all TCGs.
When you go to his house, he says, it's my house, my rules. When he goes to your house, he says, I'm the guest. So you have to honor me.
I'm the guest. You have to. Well, no, I didn't have any guests over. I was white trash, dude. My mattress was on the floor. Like, we don't take too kindly to guests around here. We got warm Pepsi and water. What you like? So we had a group of about 4 or 5. One of them was the DM's butt buddy, so he did whatever he asked. One of them was, I would call him Chaotic Evil, and his name rhymes with Blavid. So I can't really say his name.
What the fuck?
Because it would be confusing to the audio listeners if I'm talking about Blavid with David here. So we'll just call him. We'll just say his name is Bobbert. You know, what is that from Adventure Time? No, that's from.
Is it?
I don't know. No, that's from Gumball. We'll just call him Bob. We'll just say his name is Bob for now. Bob was an asshole. He was already in high school. He was a raging alcoholic, and he.
In high school?
Yeah, you know, sophomore year of high school, got to get that raging, because he was also white trash like me, except his parents were worse. So we were playing, and I built this character that was like a lawful good rogue. Imagine Antonio Banderas with a rapier, like Spanish conquistador, kind of like just the nicest man ever. Imagine the guy from The Princess Bride who's looking for the guy who killed his dad. That's kind of exactly what I built. And we rescue some orphans from a like evil castle that he had built, that the DM had built, that was stupid and awful. So we rescue these orphans, and I take them under my wing, and I train them, and I'm training them, and then I'm gone for a couple sessions, and I come back and I build a new character. Unbeknownst to me, Bob Blavid had taken one of my character, one of the kids that I'd raised, killed one of them in front of them to establish dominance, and then took the other one and made them they enchanted them into a bag of holding.
God, that's fucking edgy.
They took the child and made it their personal bag of holding.
That's like Space Station 13 shit. Or God, Helmu.
Yes.
So he was just walking around with a kid following him?
Yep. Just tied rope waist to waist. And they would grab things out of any orifice from this child.
Out of any orifice.
Man.
Not like bag of holding, like carrying a bag of holding. The child had a bag of holding enchantment on it. So he would thrust his sword down into its
bag
stomach.
Of holding.
Yeah, the child's body is the bag of holding.
What?
So
how do you come up with this shit?
I don't know. He thought it would be hilarious if he's grabbing everything out of this child directly.
I mean,
out of this orphaned little girl.
Oh, girl, too.
Yep.
Oh, no. It got
I don't have
weird.
to explain anything. You guys understand how edgy and awful this is right off the bat. I'm not going to explain any further because it was so awful. And my Warforged ended up straight up just killing him.
What
he had to
fuck?
keep all that pedophilia in that bag.
Why is there always that fucking guy who has to insert
There's always that guy
into the... Oh.
There's always that guy that tries to do something really fucking weird, and everybody has to stop him. Ahmad.
Ahmad, where Ahmad tried to fuck a bed, where Ahmad tried to fuck a mimic bed that I built in my monster tavern, and can I fuck a bed? Can you fuck a bed? Can you?
Can you fuck a bed? What a question! Only in D&D, dude.
You can definitely fuck a bed.
You can definitely fuck a bed in D&D.
I'm gonna vote yes on fucking a bed.
Vote yes on Prop 19. Fuck a bed today.
Wouldn't that hurt you if it was a box? Whatever.
It's certainly possible, and I don't think the government should tell me what to do with my bed.
A fucking men.
That's
Amen, brother.
I think Mandy has a story about one specific player pushing the
We're all
envelope.
excited.
This isn't even a story. It's a string of events that just led to. God, it was actually like a horror movie. When it's like they meet someone, everything seems fine, and there's little things, and then it finally just it builds up to it. I think I'm not gonna use his real name because he would be the kind of person who would listen to this podcast. What's a really fucking annoying kid name?
Sheen.
Nicholas.
Oh, okay.
Sheen.
I was gonna say
Oh,
Sheen.
Nicholas.
Sheen could be good too.
Sheen is pretty
I'll
bad.
do Sheen.
Dusty.
Dusty. I like Dusty.
I'll do Dusty. Dusty's close. So we over like the how many years ago was this? I don't know, a few years ago. We over the summer we'd have like a weekly game night or D&D thing. We'd switch off depending on what people were in the mood for. And then one day there was a new person and there were I want to say about between 6 to 8 regulars, but like people would switch off enough that it was manageable for the DM. And then one week we had a new person and he's like, "Oh, I'm Dusty." We're like, "Oh, okay." Like Dusty seemed a little off, but he was like fine. He's like, "Oh, he seems a little awkward."
Okay.
Just because when we would if you ever like gone to these things, you know, like you're getting dinner, you know, you might get like takeout or something delivered and everyone pitches in some money. The first bad sign was him just looking around. He's like, "I don't have money on me." We're like, "Oh, that's fine." Because our system was like, "Oh, if someone doesn't have money, you know, we'll cover you this time. Then next time you cover somebody else."
Oh, there was no next time.
Well, to this day, he still owes someone $20 who keeps talking about it.
Are you kidding me?
No.
He still talks about it?
Yeah, he's fucking vengeful.
Wow.
Like
What
whenever
an asshole.
like there's a list of stuff he did, but whenever I mention him, he always goes, "And you still owes me $20." It's like
Let that go. $20? Christ.
But yeah, Bill was like, "Oh," but he's like, "Guys, I don't have any money," and we're just like, "Oh, it's fine." But he looked like really fucking serious when he said it. Like he said it like he was gonna have to kill somebody.
What?
And that's when I really looked at his eyes for the first time.
Oh my god.
If you ever seen like Tom Cruise in interviews, like in the 90s when he was really into
There's a spark.
Scientology. Yeah,
There's definitely a spark, and it's not a good one.
kind of. It's like they're just kind of dead eyes, and I was like, "Oh, what?" He's like, "I don't have any money." I was like, "Huh, maybe he's joking," and that's when I first really looked at him. I'm like, "Oh, he's serious. He's not joking. He didn't say that in a really somber tone as a joke." Oh, it's fine. And then we're like, "All right, we'll get to." We were playing, I think Munchkin or something, some kind of like some tabletop game. Like, "All right, let's do some D&D. Like, we'll make our characters. What are you gonna be?" It's like, "I'm gonna be an elf, and she has 2 blades and a bow." Like, what class is that gonna be? And for some reason, he got really fucking angry about having to pick a class.
What?
So he's like, "Oh, I could be a ranger, a warrior," and I don't know, he was getting really miffed about it, and it was just like, "All right." And then he finally like picked one. And he's like, "All right, you know, we're all doing the languages and stuff," and the DM's, you know, giving the setting like, "You're in this dwarf. You're going to be starting this dwarven city. There's this and that around." He's like, "Oh, don't forget to pick your languages." He's instantly like draconic and infernal. It's like, of course.
Oh.
But when you played the game, he was fine. So I let everything else go. I was like, all right, it went okay. And this kind of thing went on for a few weeks. But when I realized there was something off was when he did it. We did it at his house for once. And we were playing, I think it's called Descent. It's a pretty fun board game. And his older sister and her fiance had come back to the house. And I don't know where they had, I think he was in the army or something. Like he had been off doing something important. I'll just say that. And so they come home and she's like, "Oh, hi, Dusty." And he goes like, "Oh, hi, what's her sister be? Kayla. Hi, Kayla. Check this out. And he grabs a card off the table and he runs up and he shows it to them. And he goes, this card allows you to put down 3 traps at once per game.
Oh my god.
He's really fucking excited about it.
Is he a fucking goblin?
And I will never forget the look on his sister's face when she goes, oh, that's really cool, Dusty.
Oh no.
And then I realized it's like, it's very clear they don't give a shit. But this entire game, one player is basically the evil dungeon master, and like they try to stop you when you're going through the dungeon. And he had been very quiet during this game. But then when like his family came, then he like grabs a card, runs up, and starts bragging about like how he's gonna get all of us. And it was just kind of strange.
Yeah.
And then, but then after that happened during the rest of the game, he got really, really sadistic. Like he was laughing like a supervillain after everything he did, and like rubbing his hands together. And then like he picked up his cat and was like petting it in his lap, and the cat was like trying to get out of his lap, and he'd pull it back. We're like, oh, this is getting weird. But then, then we left. And I saw his friends like, I asked one of my friends, I was like, do you know where Dusty came from? He's like, I think he was like, he's Bill's friend, I think. I was like, oh, all right. So I guess to go to the same school, that makes sense. And then like he would DM because he didn't want to be class railroaded again. But then he was a very railroading person, and apparently he had written this huge thing of lore for us to explore. But instead, we wanted to form a restaurant inside one of the cities and started seriously preparing for it. We're like, oh no, we need to get fryers. Like, all right, I'll get some gold. And he slams his fist on the table. A dragon attacks the city. It's burning everything to the ground. Roll. And then the city ended up burning down. And then he's like, now the adventure begins. And this one fucking hero just goes, man, this campaign's shitty. I think other boys should DM next time. And he looked really unhappy. And the next time we saw him to DM, he sat like in this chair slumped down, and he had the dead eyes again. And we're like, Dusty, what's wrong? He's like, I'm sorry, I'm really fucking tired from work today. And then one of the other people, Bill, he's like, Dusty, didn't you work like 3 hours today? He's like, yeah, I worked from 9 to noon, but work is just really, it's hard. Dusty worked at a call center. And so he's sitting there, and then we realized it's because other guys said that his campaign was shitty, and now he's mad about it. So after he half-heartedly went through it, we're like, I'll have someone else DM. And this was the beginning of the end. Because I don't know how he can... At the time, I didn't know how he convinced him of it, but looking back, it was, he just wanted to appease him, to get him away from him. He had a custom class that was basically Tony Stark. He was like, I have a powerful suit of cursed dwarven armor or something like that. He's like, but as a drawback, whenever I take actions, it generates heat tokens. And then I have to take a single turn to vent heat. And so I'll be like, we get on our mount. He's just like, activate my super speed. It's like, okay. I roll a strength check to lift up the rock. I roll using heat, which allows me to add plus 10 strength. And then we're just like,
oh my fucking.
And we're looking at the DM, and he looks at me, and his eyes, he looks so fucking helpless. And I understand he's trapped with this shit.
This is.
And then finally, in the middle of a fight, I don't remember what happened, but I just remember the sentence, I crushed its head in my hands. And then Bill goes, hey, Dusty, I think your class is a little overpowered. And he goes, no, it's not. And I'm like, yeah, Dusty, it is. He goes, you think it's overpowered? He stands up, he grabs a wine bottle off the table, and he goes, all right, I'm going to go outside for a while. And then he takes the bottle, opens the front door, and just shuts it. And we're like, what the fuck do we do?
I was anti-Dusty up until that point. That rules.
No, it doesn't. Because
So you just stole wine? You just walked outside to drink.
well, because we
That's
sat
a
there for a
fucking
few
power
minutes.
move.
No, it's not. And I'll tell you why. He's like, what do we do? Oh, okay. I know. Let's just play the game. And so we played the game without him. And we had a great time. We played in 4 hours, kept playing. God, it must have been nearly 5 a.m. We were having so much fun. We're just like, we're not working tomorrow. Like, this is great. Like, okay, it's getting late. We need to go before the sun rises. We open the porch, turn the light.
He was still
He's
there.
fucking on the porch, laying there with the dead eyes. And he just looks up at us. He hadn't touched the wine bottle.
Alright.
What?
Man, fuck Dusty.
Fuck Dusty, dude.
Yeah,
What?
forget Dusty.
And so he's just laying there looking up at us. And we're like, you're still here? Like, we thought you went home. He's like, no, I just came outside to think about my class a little bit more. Like, Dusty, it's been like 4 or 5
Think
hours.
about my class.
Yeah.
He needed some time.
We're like,
needed
it's been
some
4
time.
hours. And he's like, and he looks up, he's like, well, I didn't know how long it had been. I sometimes lose track of time when I start thinking as critically and as deeply as I do. Like, okay, Dusty, like, I'll see you later,
Okay.
Good
All
luck
right,
at Target
Dusty.
tomorrow. So, and then a week later, it was one of the sessions he didn't show up. We had most of the regular crew there. And we're like, Dusty's class is fucking bullshit. Who allowed it? The DM's like, well, I wasn't going to have to deal with his shit. Like, so I tried to tolerate it, but he won more and more stuff, and I don't want him like this. And then he's like, it's all Bill's fault anyways. He's like, what are you talking about? I don't know Dusty. Dusty came with Kevin. Then Kevin's like, what do you mean? I thought he was your friend. And then everyone's talking like, what the fuck? And then we all go silent. We realize no one fucking knew how he got there.
He was just like,
Everyone just kind of,
How did
there
he
were like 4
infiltrate?
people who kind of knew him from school. And we figured out eventually that like he was talking with 3 of them and they were going to like their car or something. And I guess they all had assumed that he was with one of the other people. So they didn't bring it up and then they just let him go with them.
wow.
So it was just like, oh, there's 3 people. And it's like, oh, it's like a car, it could fit all 4 of us. Like, oh, we're going there. Like, cool, it's gotta be great. And it's like, oh, if one of my friends came with somebody and like we're going somewhere, I wouldn't be like, oh,
Yeah,
who the
nobody
fuck is
would
that?
question it.
Yeah. It's just like,
What?
oh, yeah,
That's
someone knows him.
crazy, though. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Did he like mastermind this?
I don't know. Because I asked the
What the
DM about if he
hell?
knew him at all. He was like, well, the first time I saw him, he was wearing a fedora and a coat from the 18th century with a bunch of big buttons on it. He walked up to me at school and asked me about dragons. And so I answered, of course. And I was like, God damn it.
That's
Yeah.
nutty, dude. That's so nutty.
And so we figured out that it's like, oh, why the fuck would he do that? Like, he didn't even know they were going for D&D. Apparently they're going to they're going to like some youth group, not even a youth group. It was some kind of non-D&D function that he just attached himself to. And so I'm scratching my head and I'm like, how the fuck did this happen?
How does this happen? That's crazy.
Have you considered that Dusty is an angel in disguise?
Well,
Oh my god.
we asked like the kid we blame, like Kevin, how could you do this to us? He's like, I don't know. Like we have to ask him some stuff. Like, what's his phone number? He's like, I don't know. Like, what the fuck? What do you know? I know his Steam name. Fine. And so I type his Steam name into Google. So I'm thinking the first link will be to a Steam, like his Steam link. And no,
Oh no.
the first
no.
link is a forum that said, my town looking for a master, willing slave. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And so, of course, I click on it, and it's a large. It's some kind of forum,
My fucking god.
and the picture is quite clearly him. Except he has a fedora on, but he was dressed differently than we usually see him.
Oh yeah.
And he
What was
had, like,
wearing?
He was like, I'm looking for something good. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, here's some things I want you to do. I want you to cover a wooden spoon in Colgate toothpaste and shove it up my ass.
what the
Yeah.
What
fuck?
the fuck?
I can't forget that specifically.
That's
Because
He's on
he wanted a wooden spoon with
That's-
Colgate toothpaste. Very specifically.
some neck That is some next level shit.
That is a fucking.
That is dude,
such a precise fetish.
You'd have to
insane.
jerk off. You'd have to jerk off over
insane.
2 million times before that becomes attractive to you.
Yeah, and it was
Probably over 10 million times.
the thing was
He
like all his
ascended.
preferences were not like related. It was like a dartboard. He's like, I want the toothpaste, the spoon, but you know, I'm also really into diapers. I want to wear a diaper. And he's like, also,
What the
you can
fuck?
whip me, but if you do, you got to make me mac and cheese after. Just like this really weird, really specific shit.
Why?
All right, you can't fault the man for wanting mac and cheese. You
Dude,
can't-
you
Yeah,
can't
but-
fault anybody for mac and cheese.
But he's like, if you don't make me mac and cheese after the whipping, like it's not gonna
It's
work.
over, dude.
It was very specific. And so
I
I'm like,
can't get over the Colgate, dude.
yeah,
I
and
can't
so
get over that.
Well, that's what the diaper is for. Like it
yeah, and
loosens
so
you
I
up.
click
You
back.
need the diaper
and
after.
I look, and there's like 2 or 3 more links below it, and it's like similar like ads. Like he's going on every local forum, and it's like it's not like secret. It's like his
It's
internet
very
name, I
much
guess.
public.
It's him. It's his face, and like all of them.
That's
And so we're just like, what the fuck do we do about this now? It's like, you know,
Yeah,
you can know someone who has a really, really fucking weird fetish.
but you
But it's like,
can't,
you know, if
you
they keep it
can't
to
go to him and
themselves-
be like, "What is this?"
Oh well, we didn't think we didn't think
What?
clearly about that
Oh no.
because we're like, it's like, okay, no, we're just tired of him at this point. We're like, what do we do? And so we sat on it for a week, and then it turned out that he had been starting to shit talk the people who didn't approve of his Tony Stark class.
Oh.
And we're like, okay, now he's trying to divide and conquer. Like, we have to get rid of him now. And so we said, hey, Dusty, we tried to find your Steam name the other night, and we found some of your ads. We're not sure we could be really comfortable with someone like that. And so we're like messaging him on Steam, and it looks like a fucking crisis center in the White House because we're all like gathered around this computer, like, what do we say next? Like, I don't know. And he's like, wow, I knew you guys could be kind of shitty, but I didn't think that you couldn't be open-minded. Dude, I was like, look at each other, like, what does he mean that he thought we'd be open-minded?
No, I mean that is shitty, but you could have still just kicked him out.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Because we didn't want to just like ghost them. We're like, we need to tell them like why this is fucking weird. We're like, hey, you're talking shit about people after everything that's been going on, and we found all this, and it's weirding people out. But then we steadily realized that might have been his end game, and we didn't know what to feel about it.
What?
Because we're like,
that's his king.
because when people were like,
oh my god.
we're like, Dusty, like, stop it, like, fuck it, like, cut it out, fucking Dusty, like, I can't take this. It's like, oh god, was he getting off on that?
Mhm.
Like when he was on the porch for like 5 hours, like he didn't have his phone, the wine wasn't touched. What was he doing on that porch for all those hours after everyone shamed him?
He was thinking
was
about
like-
he was thinking about brushing his teeth, dude.
Oh fuck.
That's like a good psychological thriller.
Yeah, but
The mind of Dusty.
it's like if it was someone I'd known for a long time, but like a weird thing like that, it would have been like, okay. But this was moments after finding out that no one knew who he was, and they had just infiltrated
Yeah,
us.
exactly.
It's
like-
so many weird things.
Because it's like,
all at
okay,
once.
who is he? Like, no one knows who he is, and now we have
Too
this
much
very
information.
blatant, like, whip me and give me the mac and cheese, and it's like very, very shamelessly, very publicly, but we all missed it, and to this day, I don't think any of us have run into him again. I don't know where anyone would.
Let's reconnect. Let's get him on the
Let's
podcast.
get him on the podcast.
I mean, I know that he
Can we
ran into
help
him once.
Dusty? Can we help Dusty find somebody to shove a Colgate?
He had
up his
takers,
ass.
but
He had takers. Excuse
we
me.
saw some responses, but they're like, I'll message you my picture,
Oh,
and it was like a guy with like a fucking AC/DC logo and 53-year-old man. Like, okay, good luck.
Okay.
Maybe that's what he wants. But
Yikes!
yeah, no one saw him again except for a brief encounter where he tried to attach himself again through 2 other people, but then the third person was someone who was aware. He was like,
Wow.
oh yeah, like Dusty tried to get back because I was meeting 2 friends and Dusty was with one of them, and he just said hi and talked to me like nothing happened.
Wow.
It's like, yeah, you wouldn't. I never really thought about that. That yeah, if you were slightly acquaintanced with somebody, you could probably sneak your way into a friend group like that. Because who's gonna like, bring it up? Like, who the fuck is that? He can't come.
I'm actually speechless. That's amazing.
That's a great story.
Yeah, he just came, and then a few months later he was gone. It was just like that one summer.
Like the wind.
He appeared and he was gone.
He came, he saw, he didn't come.
God, I hope not.
Hopefully not.
God, I hope not. But
We're
yeah,
gonna
that's one of the worst that guys we've had. Top
do you mean
2 at
one?
least.
What?
That's for another day.
Oh,
Hey, boys, while you were telling all these stories, I came up with the 3 rules of D&D in my head while I was drinking this hard lemonade. So I think it's a good 3 rules. And it brings this whole trajectory of my childhood D&D group. So when I moved to South Carolina in 7th grade, I didn't make any friends because you know how it be.
Yeah.
So in 8th grade, I finally met 2 friends, and this is how everybody gets into D&D. You just read the rule books over and over again and have nobody to play with.
Pretty
and then
much.
when you meet somebody else who does that, it's amazing.
That never happens. You have to force everybody in your friend group.
I met two people. One of them's really tall, so we'll call him Big Homie, and one of them's my size, so we'll call him Little Homie.
Little homie.
So Little Homie decides to run a game, and me and Big Homie are like, all right, cool. I made a ninja elf. I was also a ranger, which confused the DM. He was
because of the range?
He was just like, why are you a ninja? And I was like, because they're cool. I'm a ninja. I was in 8th grade, so
Prime weeb status.
Yeah, so we were tasked with taking a carriage with the mayor to the next town over. And while we were doing that, we were attacked by goblins who were using fire-tipped bows, or arrows, sorry. And 2 of the goblins got crits on hitting the mayor's carriage. So within the first round, before we can even act, the carriage was lit on fire. The mayor stumbles out of the carriage on fire, and he just describes this mayor slowly burning to death in front of us before we can even act. So this is my first D&D encounter in my life, by the way. So things immediately went well.
Dude.
We kill the goblins, and then we're like, well, shit, what do we do? So we bring the mayor to town, and they're like, murderers! You're going to court. And they think we killed the mayor. Yes.
Yeah.
So
you guys were fucking playing Law and Order.
Yeah, so the judge was asking us what happened. And my friend immediately says, well, everybody got killed, and then we took all the gold off their bodies.
Wow.
And
What?
So the first lesson is never talk to the police. That's my first lesson.
That's
okay.
a
General
good
life
rule.
rule.
Yeah, flash forward a few years, okay, folks? We're playing in high school now, and we meet a kid who is really into God. Big God person. So we'll call him
God
big
homie.
God fan. So we'll call him God Homie. Big Homie runs a campaign. Me and Little Homie and God Homie are in this campaign, and we have such a great time. We play all night. We stay up till 4 a.m. You like play till 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then you stay up till 4:30 just talking on the floor because it's like you're like 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And life is crazy.
Life is crazy.
So we meet this kid, and he's so cool. And then the next day, his parents call his parents and say, the D&D is for the devil. Your children are devil worshippers. So my kid is not allowed to hang out with them anymore. And so that's the second rule: is stay away from Christians. That's the second rule of D&D. The third rule, we're gonna fast forward. This is after college now. We're much older. Keep in mind, I'm like 28, so this is like a span of fucking. You can do the math.
Lifetime.
Yeah, 14 to 28. You can do the math. If you can do the math, I'll give you a like on Twitter for that. If you can send me that. I'm just fucking joking. Please don't send me that. Anyway.
Oh no.
So we decided to get together because we haven't seen each other since everybody went off to do adult life.
Yeah.
And so we're like so hyped. Little homie's got this nice campaign planned out for both of us, and big homie calls the day of and says, "Hey, can my girlfriend come?" And we say, "Yeah, that's cool. No problem, dude."
I think I can see I see the rule in the stars right now, dude.
His girlfriend comes, and she does not want to fucking be there.
Oh yeah.
It is so obvious. It is so obvious to us that she does not want to be there. She's complaining already by the time she walks in the door.
Jesus.
And so we decided to let her create a character, and she decides to be a badger.
A badger?
Yeah, she just finds the badger stats in the monster manual.
Oh, so you guys kind of homebrewed it?
No.
Like just a regular badger.
She looked in the monster manual and decided all these races are dumb. I want to be a badger. Whoa. And looked up the badger stats.
Whoa.
And the DM was like, "No, you can't be a badger." And she was like, started to pout. She was very, very bizarre. She started to pout like a little child. And my friend immediately slammed his slammed his DM guide shut and was like, "All right, we're not playing. let's just watch a movie or something." And then the girl was like, "Are you sure?" And he was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Okay." So we haven't played D&D with that guy pretty much since then. This is very heartbreaking because it was a childhood friend. But that's the third lesson: is don't be a weird weirdo who forces your girlfriend to come to D&D. If your girlfriend wants to come to D&D, that's cool. But don't be a weirdo and force your girlfriend to do something.
Yeah,
what the fuck? Anyway, that's my 3 lessons of D&D.
I am reminded of my DM rules that I have out of your lessons that are in relation to campaigns. As a DM, I've had to come up with a couple rules. One of them that I no longer stick by, but I stuck by it for a while, and that was one: I never say no. Or I try to never say no, because you get some of the...
really hard. It's really hard. That rule is really hard to follow.
That rule is really hard. And I've kind of changed it to where say no sometimes, but only when they're being awful.
Could somebody be a badger?
Yeah, sure. I'll build a homebrew for him and let him do it.
Damn.
Yeah, if you're going to die instantly, you're going to have 5 HP. You're not going to have a leveling system or a class. You're going to be a dumbass badger who can't talk.
Ahead.
Yeah, exactly. One of my rules is a rule, like I said, that I no longer stick by, and that is, if you are a dude, you have to play a dude. And I feel like that was very
completely.
And that was very high school times that I had to come up with that rule. And there's a reason.
I completely understand.
Everybody that played D&D in high school knew a guy that played a girl on D&D, and it always ends the same way, I'm pretty sure.
He wanted to roll for his bust size so that he could kill a pirate captain with his tits.
Oh my god.
There it fucking is.
They were on a ship that I had built, and they were all captured, and he was trying to seduce the pirate captain, which of course, if you're a high school horny dude and you're playing a girl, the first thing you think of is, oh, a girl's gotta seduce everybody, right?
Oh my god.
That's just how it works, right? You just gotta have you just use your most powerful weapon in your arsenal, the opposite sex.
That's how women work, dude. Sweet.
That's how women work, dude. I've never seen a woman in my entire life. And I know that's stereotypical, but he rolled. I gave him giant tits, and he killed the pirate captain with him. And I said, "You're changing your character. I'm not doing this anymore."
Christ.
Another rule is no druids. And that's just like something that I
it's-
stick by.
Well, that's
because
just because of the fucking partner. The fucking animal partner is annoying.
No, that's rangers. Druids,
Oh,
it's the I have a player and I love him to death. Don't get me wrong, he's one of my favorite dudes of all time. However, sometimes he gets bored and tries to just do whatever the fuck he wants, even when I'm like going through like, oh, I wrote all this stuff. And I get that as a DM, like, yeah, you let your characters do whatever. It's your world, but they're the ones living out the story. It's their choices that matter. But I was getting really frustrated because he kept turning into a bird and just wanting to fly away in any direction.
Oh.
And I'm like, I get like player freedom, 100%. That's totally cool. But not just, yo, I'm going to be a bird and fly the fuck over there. I built this wonderful world completely corrupted by the undead with one or two last shining beacons of light. And there's just a giant bubble dome covering the last city, trying to mount this resistance against an undead king. And this motherfucker wants to, I want to go over there.
Be a bird.
I was working on siege mechanics and recruiting mechanics and I was just trying to make 5e like the most ridiculous big like army simulator near the end, because I sometimes take a little bit more off than what I can chew. But I want to go over there. There's nothing over there. You'll go through the dome and you might die. Yeah, I'm gonna go through there. Okay, I guess. And just
It's like a
narrating
living
everything
dog.
that's happening. It's
Plus, Entangle is like, no, you're fine. I was going to say Entangle is like one of the most overpowered spells, at least in 3.5 it was.
So no druids allowed, because I hate them and I hate that they can turn into birds. No multi-classing either, because the same dude ended up multi-classing into a wizard and a rogue and sneak attacking everything. Like I said, love him to death, one of my best friends, but he just tried to break the game.
How about a rule that's just no metagaming? Because that's
no
fucking
metagaming.
so boring.
We're all like, I think some of us are a little guilty of gaming, and Granite is a character in Shadowrun that I kind of built and metagamed. You ever play Shadowrun?
Yeah, I love Shadowrun.
Yeah. How familiar is everyone in here with Shadowrun?
I've only played the PC games.
I've played tabletop about a few times, so I've never gotten to like later stages of it.
I DM'd it, so
I have not. I've only played it. We to make it short, because like I like to talk and talking is fun. I built a character who is an orc named Granite, and everything that I put into him was just focused on making him as bulletproof as possible. So
you were just
titanium
a fucking metal.
I was
man.
just. I had to. Well, I had to be shot point blank by a tank to do like 100% damage.
Dude, Christ.
So I could absorb almost any kind of damage because I took like skin plating and titanium bones and an armor vest. I got destroyed by a blood wizard because our DM was awesome and they were totally okay with me trying to build like a walking talking tank. With just a sledgehammer, because there's a lot of, if you're doing combat, there's a lot of cyber combat and like gun combat and Shadowrun. And my guy just had a sledgehammer and that's it. So
That's great.
That's actually really cool. Don't you get like, when you play, because you were an orc, right?
yes.
In Shadowrun, don't you get aren't you allergic to metal when you're an orc?
I don't remember that being a thing, but we were playing the newest version of Shadowrun and there's a lot.
That might be because I'm playing
Shadowrun has
first
a
edition.
ton of rules.
I was playing first edition, and if I remember correctly, there was something with like, if you're a race that's not human, you get an allergy, and the allergy can be really, really severe to the point where you just cannot get in contact with metal. But that's like
God.
first edition kind of
Like old edition
sucks.
kind of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Granite's like a staple character of mine, and I brought him from like fantasy D&D. Like he's just an orc. Like in fantasy, like in D&D, when I build him, he's just an orc that's obsessed with hammers. On my my old character sheet, he had 6 intelligence,
Oh my god.
which 10 is average. 6 is like he's as smart as a wolf.
It's instincts, you don't need
He just
brains when
needs
you got
instincts.
Yeah.
He just needs instincts, and then 15 hammers,
When you got
all of varying
small-
sizes.
When you got a small spaghetti brain, all you need is instincts.
Have you played Cyberpunk 2033?
Oh no, I haven't.
I
I'm very
haven't.
excited for the new game.
I'm excited for the game, but the I played the tabletop, and it's one of the most broken systems I've ever played in my entire life. There's a combat class called the Solo, and every class has its own like specific skill that it's unique to them that they can put points into. And the Solo class has combat reflexes, which adds 1 for every skill point in it you have, and that 1 is added to any attack roll. So like the way attack is, if you have a skill of 6, you have 6d10. So basically, like, my friend was making a character of a Solo and was like, what should I put it in? Oh, is this really like +1 for each skill point to an attack roll? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, I'll just put all 12 in there. So he just broke the game. Every encounter, he'd be like, okay, I attack and get, let's see, 18d10.
Dude, what?
yeah,
That's
it was
insane.
fucking crazy. Yeah, it's really broken.
Oh.
At least the Solo class. So every time I play that game, I try to like actually change that skill.
Yeah.
Hot tip for all you tabletop gamers out there.
How many editions of Cyberpunk are there?
Not many.
3 or 4.
That's what I thought. Cyberpunk Isn't it weird that there's actually a video game coming out for Cyberpunk 2077 when it's like one of the smaller RPGs?
Yeah, apparently, I mean, they could have probably got the IP for cheap.
Maybe.
Apparently, it's
they
pretty
got
big in
Witcher
the
for
early 90s.
cheap.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably why.
Since that guy's
that's
mad
what
to this day about royalties.
Well, I mean, I think they do that with the Polish government, though. That's like trying to culturally export Poland to the rest of the world.
Yeah, is Cyberpunk Polish?
No. I'm talking about the Witcher series.
Oh.
Because Witcher's Polish book series that I didn't hear of until the video game. So I guess it worked.
All right. That's the episode.
Is it?
Yeah. You guys want to plug your stuff? Are there questions, class?
Or is this a bonus? Oh wait, I don't know if bonus episodes have questions.
No, oh no, we don't.
No
we don't.
classes.
No classes in bonus episodes.
No classes and bonus episodes. Only plugging.
3 heat points for that attack.
Mandy, where can people find you?
I
YouTube, Twitter.
love
Lord Mandalore on YouTube.
It's not right. That's fine.
Wait, is it just Mandalore Gaming?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my bad. I was mixing up your Twitter.
It doesn't matter.
Mandy.
It doesn't matter. I'll be fine.
Oh my god. Brendan.
You can find me on YouTube at Brendaniel, on Twitter at BrendanielH, on Twitch at Brendaniel. It's a running theme.
Creel.
Mines are all over the place. You can find me at Twitter at mycreel, MyCreel. And then you can find me at www.youtube.com/creeltube.com.
My turn. You can find me on Spotify at SirMeow. You can find me on Twitter, SoundCloud, and YouTube at SirMeow Music. I was like thinking which ones. All right. Yeah.
Oh, wait, David, hey, I hear something. One sec. Hey, do you hear that?
Oh, what's that?
What? Yeah, I hear the rolling of a caravan nearby.
Is Avery not returning ever since we had that fight? You can't appear on the same podcast.
Can you hear that?
That's not funny.
The caravan's coming. It's getting closer.
Where? Hello?
Oh,
Who is it?
You see it in front of you, a wonderful caravan. Inside are beautiful goblin babes, and they all have guns, and they're shooting at you. Roll for initiative.
Oh my god. Oh, one. Actually, one. Are you shitting me? I actually just rolled a
7.
I actually rolled a 1.
Oh man, you guys are all dead. Sorry about that. Hey, look, my mom's calling. I gotta go. I can't be part of this podcast anymore. Give Avery my lava,
pizza
right?
hasn't
But
gotten
the
here
pizza.
yet.
Yeah. What the?
It's fine. My mom's making me a sandwich. It's all good.
I didn't bring money for pizza. Also, can my girlfriend come? I want to show her what D&D is.
No.
Are you sure? I think she'll really like it.
All right, yeah.
Only if she makes me mac and cheese.
Will she pay for the pizza?
Unless she shoves a wooden spoon up my
Probably
ass
not.
with cold
She says she wants to go into biology, but she keeps losing her job at the Bojangles. But I think she'll be good at taking notes.
What the fuck? What
I don't know what.
Great improv work, everybody. Thanks for listening to the podcast. We're ending it now.